Okay guys, so by now if you're watching this video, you've already found the product that you want to sell on Amazon, so congratulations. But now it's time to start talking to and finding good suppliers. So what you're going to do is open up a website called Alibaba.com. You should have an active account with them already. If not, go and make one right now, pause this video and then come back to it. Alibaba.com it's the main website in which us as private labelers on Amazon find suppliers in order to make our products. I believe it is the biggest trading website in the world. It was developed by China's current richest man. That might change, it depends on when you're watching this video, but there's a reason it's so successful. It's basically like it's where most of the people in the world will find suppliers in China to manufacture products for them. So go over to Alibaba.com and you're going to search for whatever product you want. So for this example, I've just said, let's just pretend that you're going to have a garlic press. Like, don't use this product. Any products that I've used in this course as examples, they are examples. Doesn't mean because I've used them as an example that you should do them. Find your own products, believe me, you'll do a lot better that way. Anyway, so let's just say your product's a garlic press. So you head over to Alibaba.com and you type in garlic press. Let it do its thing. Now the first thing you want to do is you want to filter out all the rubbish suppliers and the ones that are just on it to make a quick buck or could make cheap or not so good quality products. If that makes sense. You want to get all the riffraff out from the good stuff. So you want to go to supplier types and hit Gold Plus Supplier. And what that is all the very good suppliers, they've got a premium membership with Alibaba.com. They would have been pre-selected and then approved in order to be put in the gold selection compared to all the rest of the riffraff. And that will eliminate any problems that you should have. The second option you can do, which will limit your results even further, is using trade assurance. Now I would only recommend that if you are planning to pay your suppliers through Alibaba. For the beginning, especially for the meantime, until you have really good relationships with your suppliers and you trust them, I always pay my suppliers through PayPal. So don't worry about this at the very beginning, that will come later on. So now we're going to just look through the products, all the riffraff has gone out, and we're just going to look for people who sell garlic presses. So you've got one here, you've got a different one here. It depends on what sort of shape or product you're looking for. I mean, you've got this is the exact product that this person here, that the main person on Amazon is selling. It's the exact product. No difference. All they would have done is made some different packaging, different photos, private labeled it, marketed it properly, but it's the exact same product. And you'll notice also that you'll always get a price point within a range. You'll never just get one given price. And it varies drastically from supplier to supplier. Until you contact them, you won't know. So don't pay any attention to if you see the maximum price point, you think, oh, this is too heavy. It doesn't matter at all. Once you contact your suppliers and you have a little conversation with them, you'll get to realize, what would be expensive and what would be affordable. But it'll always be given to you in a range. Ideally now you want to start contacting suppliers, so any of the products that you see here that you think, oh, that's got some potential, I might like to sell that, you want to contact the supplier. So go ahead and you'll hit contact supplier. And the next thing you're going to do now is, I've got a template ready for you guys to use. This template will be, this Word document will be down below, so you can download that. And you're going to send them this message. So, hello, my name is, and then enter your name, and I am the lead purchasing agent for company name. So whatever your company name or brand that you plan on using will be. The reason you want to do that is because it makes you sound a lot more professional. You don't want to sound like someone that's, brand new to the game and you've just got in, because then it will try and get as much money off of you as possible, and you don't want that to happen. So you want them to think you've been around for quite a while. So, hello, my name is Ryan and I'm the lead purchasing agent for Garlic Press. We are an e-commerce store on Amazon in the United States. Again, you can change this to, whatever place you're selling in. If you're not selling in the United States, it doesn't really matter. In the United States, I am looking to add your product name to my online store. So in here, it would be Garlic Press or whatever the product may be. Could you please provide me with a quotation for 350 units, which would be an initial test order? I recommend that. That's a perfect amount. Let's just say you've got to give 50 units away. Varies on what product you're selling. Sometimes you'll have to give away a few more. Sometimes it'll be a little less. So factor that into account. But that's a good starting point. 350 units, which is a test order, 600 units, 1,000 units and 2,000 units. So already with quite the big numbers that you're throwing at them, they're going to take you quite seriously. They're not going to think that you're new to the game or messing about. And then you've got to obviously add all these, because these are features that you need included in the price. So a UPC code to be printed and stickered on the packaging, which is a barcode. Logo and design on the product, which is something that you will want. Branding, I've spoken about that already. Custom box packaging, if applicable. So if you are selling your product in an OPP bag, then it's not too much to worry about. Maybe you could just have a sticker or label stuck on it with your brand and logo, etc. If not, highly I'd highly recommend if you're going to do a box design, has to be good, you know, nice. So you want to put that in, you want to make sure that they're going to give you that and it comes within your given quote. And shipping to, and then put your address via DHL or FedEx Air Express, including DDP. Now where I've put your address, it will be the address that Amazon gives you when you create a shipping plan for your product. This is usually Dallas in Texas if you're sending to the United States. I don't know why, that seems to be a central hub. Majority of the time when I have product shipped in, they'll tell me to send it to Dallas and then they will spread it throughout all of their warehouses and so on with it themselves. Very rarely, but it has happened to me. It will change. Sometimes the address will be different, but that is just the example. You would give them whatever address that, once you've created your shipping plan for your product, you will give them whatever address that your Amazon has asked you to send the inventory to. Could you please include the estimated manufacturing time as well as the shipping time? Thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you. So that there is a perfect template. It's the template that I personally use when I first speak to my suppliers. And you're going to go ahead, you'd copy and paste that document into here and you're just going to send it. One more thing before you do it, where it says quantity, make sure you put 1,000. 1,000 is quite a lot of units and it's going to get their attention more. If you just put in here 10 or 20, most people, they probably wouldn't even be interested or bother replying to you. But because you put 1,000 here, it makes you seem like you're a bigger player, so they're more inclined to want to, get back to you as soon as possible, and they know that you're taking things seriously. And that is pretty much it, guys. So all you're going to do now, once you've sent that message, it will take you back to the, close this down. You're just going to choose as many suppliers that you can. Aim for at least 5. 5 would be a minimum, I'd say, for, and then I'd say 10 would be perfect. The more suppliers that you're going to try and contact, the more options you're giving yourself, and options are the best, options are what you want. You want as many options as possible. So you'll get several quotes. You'll start to realise that certain suppliers you like the sound of more, you want to work with them more, and certain suppliers you might think, they're taking too long to reply, or for whatever reason you're not too keen on working with them, and that's absolutely fine. But you've got to at least make sure that you message 5 of them with the same template, exactly as it was. So you'd pick this one, you'd pick this one, this one. I'd say aim for at least 5. 10's ideal. I wouldn't say any more than 10. That's a bit of overkill, but by all means, message as many as you feel comfortable doing, minimum 5. Send them the exact template, and when they start messaging me back, then you can negotiate further from there. Okay, so by now you've contacted a few suppliers and you've started talking to them and getting responses back. The only problem with talking to suppliers through Alibaba though is the response time. Reason being is China, from where we would be, which the majority of people watching this course I'd assume are from Europe or the United States, China is in a completely different time zone. They're hours ahead of us. So the problem with messaging people on Alibaba and suppliers is, once you message them, for me in Europe, it's much better for me when I'm in Australia because it's a very similar time zone. But if you're in the US or Europe, once you send a supplier a message in our normal operating hours, they're not normally online until 4 or 5 a.m. Especially like from the UK, they're not online until 4 or 5 in the morning. So the problem with that is I'd send a message before I go to bed or during the day even. I've got to wait 18 hours to get a reply, and by the time I've woken up, they've gone to bed. So I'm getting one response, I'm sending one response per day. And that's not, that's not time well spent. You're wasting time right there. So what you want to do is make sure you get your suppliers, once you've spoken to the suppliers that you like the sound of and you might want to deal with them, make sure you get their WhatsApp telephone number or Skype. And what I mean by WhatsApp, I'm sure the majority of you know, but if you don't know, WhatsApp is an app. It's like probably the biggest communicating app in the world where you can send messages and pictures and that sort of stuff too. If you haven't got WhatsApp, go onto your App Store or Google Play Store now on your phone and get it. It's completely free. And just get your supplier's WhatsApp number or Skype email. So what I mean by that is if you go onto, I've just used this as a prime example. If you this is your supplier you're talking to and you like the sound of them, 9 times out of 10, if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, the suppliers will have a contact us like section. They'll have their Skype here, Twitter if you want, but I'd advise WhatsApp. WhatsApp's the number you want to go. And then that way you can talk to each other directly. Like you don't have to mess around with emails and them checking their email address at 4 in the morning. You can message them, it'll identify that, it will alert them. So the moment you send them a message, they will know. The moment they wake up, they can send you one back and you will still be awake at this point. So they won't have, you won't have to wait for them to go and check through all their emails from all the other people that have contacted them. You'll have personal one-on-one contact with them so you can talk to each other, a lot quicker than what you would just via the email or the contact us page on Alibaba. So either get their WhatsApp or their Skype, and you should contact them this way because this will give you the best and quickest results. Okay, so once you've made your initial contact with your suppliers, now is the time that you want to order some samples. So you would have spoken to several suppliers, you would have identified the ones that you want to work with and the ones that you're not too keen on working with, and that's fine, or the ones that can offer you a better deal than the others. But now you need to speak to them about getting samples sent to your house directly. Now 99, from my own personal experiences, 99 out of 100 times, Samples are usually always completely free. All they will, you know, they'll give them to you for free because they're keen to get your business, and it's like a gesture of goodwill, if you like, because they're keen to have you as a customer. But all you have to pay for is the shipping. Depending on where you are in the world, like when I'm in Europe, normally shipping's around between $30, $20, and it also depends on how big your item is, you know, how big your product's going to be. But all you would have to do is pay for a couple of samples, tell them, listen, I want 2 samples, customize them to your exact specifications if possible. Sometimes there's an MOQ implemented, and what an MOQ is a minimum order quantity. So they are more than happy to send you out samples, but if you want certain things customized or changed, or logos and brands and that sort of thing added, there's an MOQ. So the MOQ might be 100 units, it might be 500 units. So they can't send you an exact customized product to your exact specifications, but they can send you the basic model of what you want, you know, just so you can get a feel for it, have a look, check that it's not. So for example, if you're ordering a pair of these headphones, you want to, before, like once you found your product, if you like the supplier and everything's hunky-dory, you're not just going to order 1,000 of these and then have them sent to the Amazon warehouse customized, because you've never actually touched one, because they're going to send you amazing pictures, they're never going to send you crap photos. But until you've actually held the product in your hand, you know, flipped them around, checked that the music quality is good, you're never going to know. So always order a sample, order a couple. That, like I say, 9 times out of 10 they'll always be free. If not, there'll be a couple of dollars each. It'll be absolutely nothing. But in the long run, it will protect you the most, because you want to make sure that the product that you're going to send into Amazon is as good a quality as possible. And then once you've received your samples, everything's hunky-dory. You can have them customized exactly how you want them to, speak to your suppliers, make your initial order, and you're good to go. Okay guys, so in this video, I'm going to talk about how many units should you order for your very first order. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of under-ordering. They go for really small orders, or test orders as you'd call them, and then when their product comes in, they give a certain amount away. They've only left themselves with a very limited amount of stock to not even break even with their profit margins, or they just run out of stock too quickly because their product starts to sell really well, and after 3 or 4 days, all their inventory's gone, they've sold out. And the problem with that is that if you want to, I mean, I've never met a supplier or spoken to a supplier from China that can get me inventory, you know, from their warehouse to where I need it within at least 20 days. Usually that's the sort of cycle you're looking at. Sometimes it can take up to a month. And the last thing you want to do is get a product in Amazon, start selling really well really quickly after following all the steps that I've taught you so far. And then after 3 or 4 days you're out of stock and you've got to wait an entire month again before you can reorder. So I'm going to show you a way on how to ensure that this doesn't happen, how you can make sure and work out exactly how many units you need to order for your first order. So let's just say you want to sell a keychain. So a keychain is your planned product. You'd search your main keyword and then you'd hit the Chrome extension. So you want to get the numbers up, see what your competition are doing. And what you want to pay attention to is the daily sales estimate. So this column here. So let's just say you want to rank 3rd. You can see this guy, he's doing quite well. He's selling 12 units a day. If you were to only order a very small test order, so you were to say only order 200 units, you've already got to give away 12 for up to a week. So that's 12 times 7, I believe that's 84. You've already lost 84 units before you've even started to sell with some significant velocity. So if you take 84 for 200, you've only got 116 left. You've only got 116 units left, and if they continue to sell for 12 a day, sometimes even more, then you're gonna run out of stock within 9 days or so. So then you're gonna have to get onto your supplier and speak to them, because their lead time will be at least 20 days, which is 3 weeks, near enough. Sometimes it's 30 days in a month. So already you're well behind in terms of the amount that you've got in stock compared to the amount and demand that your customers have. So you are essentially, you're just sat dormant, you're not making any money. You're gonna have to speak to your supplier and go, listen, I've ordered 200 units, I've only got 116 left. You know within 9 days they're gonna be run out, but you know that the lead time for your supplier to get it into your warehouse is at least 20 days. So for those 9 days that you're selling, that's all well, great, hunky-dory, but then Amazon only pays you in fortnightly installments. So if you are tight on the budget and you're waiting for your first amount of profits to come through from your first payment from Amazon, you're going to be waiting 2 weeks, then you're going to make the order with your supplier, then you're going to have to wait another 3 weeks, potentially, maybe 4, before you start selling again. So already you've lost so much traction and you're just sat around twiddling your thumbs, not making any money, because you ordered such a small order. So ideally what I would say aim for, I mean, I wouldn't even be opposed to ordering a 500 or 1,000 unit test order. I would never be opposed to that. If you were to order 1,000 units, I mean, that's a great number to start with. You can get your stock in. As you can see, the monthly sales here are 464, so maybe you wouldn't need to order 1,000 if you were selling this exact product. But 1,000 is a great point. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Maybe even 500 units would be quite comfortable here. You order 500 units, you know that within a month you'd be sold out or near enough if you're doing as well as your competition are, if not better. So you then, by the time that you've run out of stock, you've already made your second order, you've already received profits from your first 2 weeks of selling, and then you're going to have your next batch in just in time for you to run out your first batch, and then the cycle will continue on. The last thing you want to do is be left with a successfully selling product and you've got no inventory and just sat twiddling your thumbs, because there you're not making any money, you're just sat waiting, you know, and getting frustrated by the entire process. So hopefully this has made this a lot clearer, or, you know, a lot easier for you guys to understand. What you need to do, the most important aspects of this are to read the monthly sales, read the daily sales, understand that you're going to have to give the daily sales amount away for up to a week, give or take. And then you're going to have to subtract that off of however many units you've got left. So if you've ordered 200, you're giving 12 away for a week, that's 84. You've only got 116 units that you're actually going to sell. So, you know, take that into consideration and then plan accordingly from that point and work out how many units you're going to need to order for your exact product. How to make sure that you're not going to be overcharged by your suppliers. Now, what you have to understand first and foremost is that it's our job as sellers, you know, on Amazon to make as much money as possible. It's also your supplier's job we are there, but we're the buyers, we're their customers. It's their job to make as much money off of us as possible. So you have to understand that they're always going to give you the highest price possible, and then they know you're going to try and negotiate and go down. But a great way to know if you're being absolutely ripped off or not is a great website. I'll show you guys right now. It's called 1688.com. So 1688.com. And what it basically is, it's that you can see it's in complete Chinese. It's the Chinese version of Alibaba. So if you are a Chinese person or a Chinese customer, you can go onto here and you will find that products will be a lot cheaper on here than they would be to your international buyers, i.e. us, because you know, they know the score, they know how much certain products are over there. They're not going to rip off their own people, but we're international buyers, so their job is to make as much money off of us as possible. So what you would do is head over to 1688.com. Sorry. Head back over to Alibaba for a second, and I'll use the famous garlic press as the example. So let's just say that the product you want to buy is a garlic press. And you can see the price we've got here for the garlic press we've seen is between between $2 and $6. Now there's always going to be, you're always given prices in a range. It varies depending on how many units you're going to order. Obviously the more that you order, the cheaper it will be. But a rough guesstimate or guide to work with is always try and meet in the middle. So if that's $2 to $6, you're looking at $4. So roughly, give or take, that's the sort of price you'd be looking at paying when you start speaking to a supplier. So you know on here that it's going to be $4. We'll look at a few others. So here we've got between $3 and $7, so that's $5. Here we've got between $3.72 and $4.26. That's around $4, give or take. So between $4 and $5 is an average price of what we're getting when we're looking at the supplier's prices here. If you head over to 1688.com, you're going to type in garlic press here and see exactly what you can get the same product for, because now you've got yourself a lot of leverage, because you can go back to your suppliers now and go, well, hang on a minute, if you're charging me $5 per se, I've just been onto 1688.com and I've spoken to someone, I know I can get it for $3. Now you've got, you've got leverage because you know that they're overcharging you. So what you would do is go on to, let me get up a new tab, go on to Google Translate. And you will change your text into, oh, see, it's already set here. I've done this so many times, I've lost track. Chinese simplified, okay? Make sure it's Chinese simplified and not traditional. I don't know why, that's the way I was taught, and that's just the way that always seems to work. So, Chinese simplified, direct language, and we are garlic press, because that's our product. And now what you're gonna do is copy that. So copy the text, head back over to 1688.com and paste it. So now, fingers crossed, we're going to get, voila. Okay, so we've got garlic presses coming up here. So as you can see straight away, we've got prices ranging from, their currency I believe is yuan, Y-U-A-N. So 22.90, 4.50, we can see a few. We want to try, so we found one there for 1 yuan, which is quite cheap. It's very cheap, in fact. I just want to get an average price point, 18.60 here, 12.50. 6.50. So let's just say, for an example, you wanted to buy this one here. So that's the sort of garlic press you're looking for. You've seen it on Alibaba and they're charging you $5, but here it's 7 yuan. So we will get up another page and go 7 yuan to USD. All right, as you can see, that's only $1. So already you've just realized that this product here is only selling for $1 US in China to Chinese people, to the Asian population. But if we go back onto Alibaba, and for someone who's selling a very similar product, they're going to try and charge us $5 or $4 or $3. So you already know you're being overcharged. So what you can do now is go back to your supplier and say, hey, listen, I'm really keen to work with you. I like your products, but I've just been on 1688.com. I've been dealing with one of my people that I deal with on that website, and I've been offered it for 7 yuan, which only equates to $1. So surely you can give me a better price. Now, what you also have to understand is that these people, the suppliers on here, still have to make a profit. So don't expect it to go for exactly 1 yuan. That's more than likely near enough, just above break even for them in China. But if they were to now drop their price, a significant amount, or even a little bit, just to show you, listen, we can sell it in this, we sell it here for $1. We can maybe give you it for $1.50. Try not to nitpick and lose yourself a really great potential product over the sake of a few cents. Because they will, now that they realise you know what you're talking about, you're serious, they will drop their prices and try and meet you in the middle, but they still have to make a profit. So understand that it's never going to match exactly what 1688 tells you, but it'd be close or close enough. You just have to negotiate with them back and forth. Don't lose a great product that you can make $10 profit for per item selling on Amazon over the sake of 10 or 20 cents. It's not worth it. But use your judgment, use your common sense, do this, use this technique. This is an amazing technique just to make sure that you're not being ripped off and overcharged by your suppliers, and that they know that you're a serious game plan, you know what you're talking about, so that they don't push the boundaries too much. Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about how to pay your suppliers. Now, the very last thing that you want to do is end up doing dealings with a supplier that isn't completely truthful, and they take your money and you don't end up getting anything for it. Now, I have never had this happen to me. And I've only heard a few stories, and that is in very extreme cases, so don't be frightened or put off. But when it comes to you initially paying your suppliers, there is only one way that I would ever recommend to do it, and that is via PayPal. If you haven't got a PayPal account, create one. They're completely free, and make sure that you tell your suppliers when you want to order your stuff, your units, you're going to be paying them through PayPal. Now, the only drawback through paying them through PayPal, a bit of a tongue twister there, is that there is a fee involved. And that fee is not so much on your end, but it's on your supplier's end. PayPal is going to charge them 4.5% of whatever money you've sent them in order for them to withdraw their funds. So your suppliers will always be against this initially. Now, the reason that I use PayPal is because there are so many safety features in place. So if for any reason you're not happy with the products that you receive, they end up damaged, broken, lost, anything, you're completely covered, and PayPal will 100% reimburse you every single penny that you've sent to your supplier. So you're completely covered, and you can rest easy at night knowing that you're not going to be ripped off or scammed, or that anything catastrophic is going to happen and you're going to get your money back. You're safe. But your suppliers will be opposed to this because they're going to lose 4.5% of what you're sending them. So if you're sending them $1,000, they've got to give PayPal $45. Now, the way to get around this is you can pay your suppliers through Alibaba and Trade Assurance. Now, that's completely fine, but Trade Assurance isn't going to give you as much cover and protection as PayPal. There's no fee involved. They're always going to say do that. Now, I now currently, through all my suppliers that I've had contacts with and dealings with over a long period of time, pay them through Trade Assurance. But the first initial 1, 2, maybe even 3 sales or purchases of items, products, I've always paid them through PayPal. And then when I've gotten to, learn and understand that my suppliers are giving me good quality products, they're not going to rip me off, there's going to be no problems, no issues, and I trust them completely, then I will pay them through Trade Assurance. Now, Trade Assurance has some of its own protection in place. It's just not as vigorous or, as locked down and secure as PayPal. So what you would do is when you mention this to your suppliers and say, listen, I'm only authorized to pay you through PayPal, they're going to say, well, you've got to pay the 4.5%. What I will always try and do is negotiate and go, listen, I'm more than willing to be a repeat customer if your products are good. I'm more than happy with your products and everything else that you're supplying me, and this is going to be an ongoing business relationship. Meet me in the middle. So we will both pay 2.25% each. 9 times out of 10, they will eventually go for it. You might get a supplier that goes, well, you pay 3% and I'll pay 1.5%. That's up to your own discretion. You can do that by all means. Sometimes you'll get them that will point blank refuse, and that's absolutely fine. But you say, well, we can't have any dealings, and I'm very sorry about this, and move on. After a couple of days, they will 100% get back to you and go, all right, listen, we're willing to drop our price a bit so it covers our end on the PayPal fees, and move that way forward. So always your first couple of initial payments pay through PayPal, and then once you trust your supplier enough and know that that they're serious suppliers and they're very good and you're happy to deal with them, then you can pay them through Trade Assurance, and you'll have no worries going and moving forward.